Hey, folks. Patrick here. Uh, Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Eight Questions with. Glad you guys are here. And our guests will be coming in shortly. We have actor Jude Fox will be joining us, along with producer Nikki Durbin. I'm going to call her with Durbin. Even her last name, I think it's her stage name, or we're going to find that out. But we'll be talking to producer and voiceover actor Nikki Durbin will be here. Unfortunately, our other guest, Deanna, will not make it tonight, but we will reschedule her as soon as we can. We probably going to have a cast. I can already tell you this because I'm already hooked on it. We'll probably end up having a cast interview for the occurrence at River Oaks. I definitely want to do that. We did that for St. Mary's School, and I want to do that here too. An occurrence in River Oaks is it is a audio drama podcast. It means old school It's old school radio, basically what it is. It's like a radio play. It is very exciting. I listened to it all and totally enamored on it. It's very cool and a lot of fun to listen to. Very exciting and a lot of good emotion too. So we're going to be talking with Nikki about that and Jude um, for their parts in the. Nikki also acts in the. Not only does she produce it and direct it, but she's also a voice actor in it as well. Uh, Good evening, Jim. Good evening, Anthony. How are you guys doing? Hopefully you guys hopefully you guys like old radio shows as much as I do. Um, I cut my teeth in horror, all things fanboy, all things comic books, horror, whatever you can think of. I cut my teeth. I cut my teeth listening to the CBS Mystery Theater with E.G. Marshall. That was my very first exposure to horror as we know it. A lot of people were that their first experience was a movie, Halloween '78, Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Chucky, Child's Play. Mine was the old CBS Mystery Theater. Love that show, still do. Let's see. See, Echoes here for the free pizza. Where's the free pizza? That will be on Friday night over at the Ice Lord's house. He is doing free pizza on Friday night. I have that on a reliable source. Um, yep, I have it. Um, yeah, Nikki's going to be a lot of fun to talk to. Um, yeah, yeah. Do you still listen to? Yeah, me too. Who was it? The Late Show is on here. He does the radio shows every single night. Man, I listen to that a lot. I listen to that a lot. His channel is amazing, and there's a ton of people there too. Um, they listen to all sorts of old programs. I listen to the Dragnet radio show. I listen to Have Gun Will Travel. I listen to Gunsmoke. I listen to Boston Blackie. Boston Blackie's a hoot. Um, Johnny Dollar. Johnny Dollar. Now that's a really fun show. That's a real fun show. Hey Kevin, how are you, sir? How are you? So the show that we'll be talking about, most I don't know, I think pretty much mostly because I'm going to be definitely diving into it. The show is called The Occurrence at River Oaks. I'm going to post a link to their Spotify page. Let's see. So let me throw this up here real quick. So this is the first season so far. I'm not sure if there's going to be any other. I'm not sure. We're going to definitely talk to her about it. I definitely think there will be a second season. Hey, Marie, how are you? All right, all right. Hopefully, you and Sam are doing excellent. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. And see, and Steven mentions he watches. Yes. Um, Yep, you can watch the old westerns too. Rifleman and Rawhide. Yep, yep. But I enjoy radio programs. That's a really cool format, and it's good to see people in here are still listening to it. Um, I know there's actually even a Twilight Zone radio program. If you can look it up on YouTube, Stacy Keach actually hosted that show, and they have some brand new episodes of that show, as long as they did some radio pro. They also did some episodes of the past episodes on TV, and they redid it for radio. But they also had new stories on Twilight Zone that was done by Stacy Keach and all star cast. I mean, there are a lot of well known people that did that show. Um, so it's always exciting to see that. It's a format I hope never goes away, and because it's really cool. And like I said, I mean, mystery theater. I know a couple of us have actually put up a couple of episodes of the CBS Mystery Theater. I do believe that it is in public domain. So if you wanted to put CBS Mystery Theater on your channel, you could do so. In fact, I think a lot of those shows are all in public domain too. I'm sure they all are. I don't see anybody trademarking anything, getting upset about it. Um, yeah. Uh, uh, let's see. Oh, hopefully your dad's feeling much better. That's no fun. That's no fun. I'm gonna go ahead and break out the calendar while I get a chance to, while our guest will be here. Um, uh, hold on one second. All right. Our guest is running pell mell, and she said, "I'm coming, I'm coming." And I said, "Don't forget to bring your coffee." And she said, "I'm bringing a whole hamburger with me," and I'm liking this girl's style. That's for sure. Oh, good. That's good. That's great news, Marie. Um, that's great news. All right, so here's what's coming up on this. I know you guys haven't heard me read a lot of the calendar yet, but I have been working on it, and we are blistering. So this is our show for tonight, Wednesdays. Normally we do Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, but we will not be on tomorrow night. We're not going to be on. We don't have a show tomorrow night. We do have a show on Friday night at 9 p.m. We will be welcoming in film director and screenwriter Michael Cassie will be here with us, along as well as young director Khalil Neal, who we just met last week. He's getting ready to release his first film, Tennessee Bigfoot, and so he's going to come in and hang out with us as we talk film and filmmaking with Michael Cassie, as we are going to do a watch party of Hunter's Moon. Hunter's Moon. It is on Tubi. It is on Tubi. So if you want to join us, we start at 9 p.m. on Friday. 9 p.m. Not 8, but 9. And if you were here with us when we did the gunfight at Rio Bravo, we're going to do the same thing here. It will be a commentary watch. Michael's going to be talking about the making of the film, and you can ask questions about it. By all means, please do. If you have not seen Hunter's Moon, highly recommend that you do. Highly recommend you do. Bring your questions with you. Michael is very generous. He'll answer any questions you may have. So that's gonna be on Friday. That's gonna be on Friday, and then we slip into our last week of the month, and we are going to be talking with YouTube film critic Sin from Sin's Corner. She'll be with us on next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Looking forward to one-on-one with Sin. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be talking everything underneath the sun, the cinema related. I definitely want to get her 2 cents opinion about The Crow. I want to see what she thinks about The Crow's trailer and what she feels is if it's going to be a good movie or not. I I just based on the trailer for me, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath at all. But well, that's just me. Other people have different opinions, but we'll talk to Sin about that and a whole bunch of other films, and that will be next Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Um, Wednesday, the 27th, we have actress Carrie Goodwin will be with us. She is one of the stars of the gunfight at Rio Bravo, and she also will be in the sequel of that film, Taken for Rio Bravo, with Joe Cornette and Alexander Nevsky, along with Dawn the Dragon Wilson and Cynthia Rothrock. That's right, Cynthia Rothrock has transitioned to westerns. She is making, I think this is her third western she's done. Why the hell not, right? There's a market for it, so why not? Then on the 28th, we're going to close out our Women Entertainment Month with Greta Volkova will be here with us. And she does a lot of films. She's one of Mark Polonius' more steadiest actresses, and she's very good at it. And she's a lot of fun to talk to. And we're going to be talking about cult films and crazy sharks and guys wearing their hats sideways. And she will be here with us on the 28th at 8 o'clock. Let's see. Oh, Marie saying that she does any kind of videos mostly on Facebook and TikTok. I get that. I get that. Yeah, Twitch seems to be Twitch. Yes, Twitch. I'm gonna have to see if I can get a Twitch thing going. I have no idea what it is. I'm not a gamer, so the only game I play is college football. That's it. Um, and then on the 31st here on my channel, Sunday the 31st of March, we will be here for our IFC Midnight Show. We will be watching and discussing one of my favorite films of last year, and I had to talk about it this year, this time with the crew, and that is Danny Houston, who's also in the new Crow movie, Danny Houston, and the lovely Jenna Malone. So that will be this Sunday at 8 o'clock here on my channel. I'll be promoting that a little bit later. If you have not seen that movie, highly recommend it. Okay. So April. April's crazy. April is crazy. So, all right. Isn't this fun? Don't you love the reading of the calendar? So starting on Tuesday, April 2nd, we have composer and producer Sean Murray will be with us. That guy is amazing. He has well over 100 movies he has composed scores for. If you're into action adventure, he is your man. He's the one you want to go to for action adventure scores. He just posted. I saw he posted on his Instagram. He's got a new movie coming out called Cheetah Station, starring Alex Pettyfer, Olga Kurylenko, and Aaron Eckhart. I'm there just for that cast right there. I can't wait to see what he came up with to move that movie along. He is a film composer, so he has done a ton of great movies. Like I said, action and adventure, you name it, he's probably done it. And he'll be here with us on April 2nd at 8 o'clock. Wednesday, April 3rd, I can announce this because we just settled this today, but our good friend Larry, the horror cat dad, will be with us on April 3rd. April 3rd will be Larry the cat dad. I have never talked to Larry a one-on-one too much before, but I'm looking forward to it. I know that him and Don Zombie, they have their own talk show, and we'll be talking to Larry about that. All right, the doorbell has rang, so you know what that means. That means our guests are coming in. So let's go get them. I believe this will probably be Nikki. So please share us out, hang around, and let's go talk. Hello.
Hi, can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, definitely. I'm just letting you know that I'm just letting you know right here, right now. Me and the Cheetah, we got our bags packed, and and we're waiting for the first plane flying out. We're headed to River Oaks. You guys need some help. Did you freeze on me? Oh, she froze. Okay. For a minute, I thought she. Oh, there she is.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my audio to come out of my headphones, my earpiece. For some reason, it's not wanting to work with me. So apologies if I freeze in between trying to get it figured out. It should be
Okay.
working, but it's not. So.
I just mentioned that me and the Cheetah, we packed our bags. We're on our way to River Oaks because you guys need some help over there.
Oh yeah, we definitely do.
Oh my gosh, Nikki, what a blast! What a blast! Thoroughly enjoyed the Occurrence at River Oaks. Totally hooked. I'm excited to talk to you about this too. And I can already tell you that I will be talking off camera because what I want to do in the future is I want to bring you and your cast to and talk about it cast wise. It's a really exciting series.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Can you see the chat okay? I'm going to say hi to the people coming in. I see our friend Jamie is here. Hi, Jamie. How are you? Jamie Hill is here. Thank you so much for coming in. So we are talking now. Now I know you have two last names, Nintr and Durbin. Which one would you prefer to go by? Hey, Dell. What last name would you rather go under, Durbin or Nintr?
Durbin.
Okay, good. I'm going to change all that after this is over with. Yeah, so exciting. I put the link out in the chat so people can go check out the Occurrence at River Oaks on Spotify. It is anywhere that you will listen to your podcast at. And I guess and I got to mention I want to bring your whole cast in one day. I want to interview the whole cast if I can do that. Though your cast is really big, though.
Sorry, I'm trying to get situated here.
Nope.
Yeah,
No
yeah.
problem.
All of my entire cast, all of us, we'd love to be on. Just got to try to make it work with all of our schedules.
We can do that. I've done it before. We did it with a cast of this St. Mary's with another podcaster, audio drama, and we had a fun time with it. And I really want to bring you guys on because, like I said, this is absolutely a joyful experience for me listening to this. This brought me back because when I grew up, when I was telling the chat, I said when I grew up, everybody has their first moment when they get into horror. Right? Everybody says, "Well, what's the first thing you remember getting, in getting into horror?" And a lot of times it was a TV show or it was a movie. Very rarely you ever hear anybody sit there and say the radio, but that's where it was for me. What about you? What was your? Let me ask you this: what was your first experience in getting into horror? Had you listened? Were you always a big fan of radio dramas, or was this something that was totally new to you?
This was something that was completely new to me. I wasn't even into podcasts or anything. I didn't even know audio dramas existed, really. I always just thought that podcasts were like where you interviewed people and things like that, like Mark Maron's. But then I had an idea. I had this idea of something that would be completely audio based, and yeah, no, I'm good. I'm with somebody up there. I just had a phone call to take. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. But so I was, I tried to I had the idea of something that would be set completely audio, and because I'm typically a screenwriter with feature films, stuff like that, visual format. So when I came up with an idea of something that I could do, hi Jude, that I could do for next to no budget, just bare bonesing it with the friends that I had and everything. This was something that I knew I could pull off in an audio format with no budget at all. So I'm basically just relying on my friends and favors. So, maybe eventually one day I'll get to pay them, hopefully.
It comes across big. It really does. You would not know that this was done on no budget. everything is perfect. The acting is perfect. The what's really hard to do radio is the sound effects. Oh my gosh, it's hard to get. It's not as easy as people think. And everything that I heard in River Oaks was top drawer. I mean, it was like it was exactly the sort of a show that you would listen to at night, right? You're sitting in and relaxing at night, maybe laying in bed and just waiting to fall asleep. And then you listen to the show, and about halfway through the first episode, your night lights on. And then by the end of the first show, your overhead lights on, because it is genuinely creepy and very scary too. It's very cool. And welcome to the show, Jude. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah. So I just want to know, we're going to be talking a little bit about both of your guys' careers, obviously, and we'll talk more about River Oaks, because I'm just enamored with it right now. Let me catch up with to chat real quick. Our friend Dell is here. Yes, Cynthia Rothrock has made some westerns. I think this is the third western she has done, as taken from Rio Bravo. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see, China O'Brien. Yep. Every time I Cynthia Rothrock, that's cool, man, because I'm who isn't a Cynthia Rothrock fan, right? All right, so let's go back to you guys' beginnings about this. I want to go back to the genesis of this. Now, had like you mentioned, Nikki, that you were new to this. So who came up with the idea of doing an audio drama? And Jude, have you ever done any voice acting before you joined the show?
Nope.
Wow.
And
Wow.
for me, I've done voice acting, acting. I've been in a few films. I'm also an independent filmmaker myself, so I've got a little experience here.
So who came up with the idea of River Oaks then?
Me. Oh, me.
And where did you get the idea of? I mean, you didn't, like you said, you didn't know there was actually radio dramas out there. So what was your inspiration to take it to this format?
Well, a friend of mine that I had known for quite a while, named Tony, he posted about how his audio drama was doing really well. So I kind of started inquiring with him. I was like, the hell are you talking about, man? Just, what is doing so well? What are you getting thousands of downloads on? And he said, oh, it's my audio drama. So he let me read the script for it. And I was like, wow, this is something I could actually do. So I'd always had an idea for, because the thing and like older, like 70s, 80s sci-fi horror was always kind of my thing. It was more of what I enjoyed. I liked things that were about imposters, people being amongst you that aren't who they claim to be. Because I feel like that's where like the biggest amount of fear and dread comes from, is when you can't trust somebody who's close to you. So I had always had this idea. Of course, I grew up in a crappy little town, population 600, when the cousins stopped breeding. Where, God, you listen closely at night, you can hear the meth labs exploding from the trailer park down the street. But so I grew up in this crappy little awful town, and there was never anything going on. So it's basically just like River Oaks. And I always used to wonder, what the hell would happen to this town, because we had like 3 cops. So even the force at River Oaks has more cops than where I grew up. But I always thought, if something awful were to happen out here, because this is a big expanse of land, there's a lot of farms and shit. If something happened out here, nobody would know what the hell to do about it. They just wouldn't. So I kind of took that idea, ran with it a little, came up with a couple of ideas, tried to throw some things at the wall. Finally wound up with, what if I make it come through a police scanner, police radios? Then I set it from the dispatch office, and then I kind of went from there.
Yeah. So I mean, so you had to go. How about you, Jude? How did you get involved with this? Did you have your cast audition for the parts, Nikki, or did you invite Jude and your fellow actors to do the show with you?
Oh, she might have frozen there. I'll pick up real quick for a minute. I've just got a small bit that she just asked me to do a little bit for her, but I believe, well, I don't really want to speak for her here. I became friends with Nikki, and she asked if I was interested at all in doing this, and I'm more than happy to. I think, I've listened to all of it, and I love sort of that cosmic horror, Lovecraftian vibe that it's got going on, just like The Thing. So, I was gung ho for it. I was like, hell yeah, anything to do. And she's back.
She's back.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. We're gonna plow our way through this. We definitely gonna plow our way through this. Tech problems be damned. Well, you know what? It might not be tech problems. It could be we are being invaded. Maybe that's going on. Maybe, yeah. Maybe that giant crawdad ain't such a myth after all.
It's me, Foster.
So much thought went into the script, and I really do appreciate it. And I'm listening to this, and I'm going like, somebody must have watched a lot of creature features, a lot, like The Thing, Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the Stephen King movie about the Shield, the Dome. I could hear elements into that, and I'm totally approved of it. I'm going like, this is excellent. This takes those, and because to me, what's really cool is not what you can see; it's what you see here in your mind. That's why reading is so cool, and listening to radio programs is so cool, because you're hearing this in your mind, you're imagining what these people are going through. And that's how it was for me. And to me, that means your job was exactly what you aimed it for. Your audio drama wanted to do that, and it did it beautifully.
Thank you.
What are some of the movies that was? I know this is a cliche question, but what were some of the cliche? Mr. Cliche here. What are some of the inspiration that went into it? Did you grow up, either one of you? Were you guys growing up? Were you guys big horror fans? Were you guys creature feature fans? Or okay, Jude says he was.
I definitely was.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the reasons why we hit it off so well. But yeah, my mom kind of raised me on movies that everybody said that she probably shouldn't have been showing me. Like I saw the original Hellraiser when I think I was 5. And everybody was like, "Oh, you can't show shit like that to a kid." And she was like, "Oh, screw you. I don't let anybody tell me what I'm going to show my kid." So I was always super into movies. That was my favorite thing. Even, all the way back, I was into video games and movies. And so both of those things had influences on the Occurrence. I'd have to say the biggest one is The Thing. Then there was like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. But if you listen, you can hear like some of the other influences, like a couple of my characters have names that are based on some of my favorite stuff. I've got Paul, because I love Misery by Stephen King.
Nice.
And there's references to Silent Hill. There's references to Resident Evil. I mean, pretty much anything that you love in horror, there's going to be found in this. Maybe not the most technically copyright friendly way.
You know what? There's nothing there that anybody could climb onto and say, no, I disagree with that. I think it's original. I think it's fresh. And you know what? And quite honestly, if anybody from any of those movies you just mentioned or books you came up there and mentioned and tried to raise hell, come on, seriously? I mean, everybody borrows from somebody else. It truly is. I'm not going to say true. I want to say borrow. That's way too strong of a word. But to me, being influenced, to be inspired to do something, I think it's a tribute. I think it's a homage, right? I mean, it's like, we think so much of your work and had on our creativity. We just want to give it back a little bit with our own. We want to add our voice with yours, That's all we're doing here. We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything that you did. We're not doing anything that, we're not changing the world per se. Well, it all depends, right?
We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just, making a new version of it.
And again, super cool.
As someone who's produced a bunch of feature films and has a pretty good understanding of the copyright laws and stuff, I think Nikki's pretty safe on most of it.
Yes.
Safe.
I honestly, as you mentioned, I was thinking about the dome, but now that you mentioned it, and it's funny too, because I was actually thinking this when the police officer came out there and says, "There's no more roads. There's no more roads." I'm going like, "Oh my gosh, this is." I love that, because you're right, because most people would have think the obvious, but I was thinking the Outer Limits. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is Outer Limits," and that's my favorite anthology show.
That's a good one.
Even more than Twilight Zone, the remake that they did in the 90s. That's my favorite anthology show. And so when she's driving and there's no more road, I'm going like, oh my gosh, there's another fan out there with me, because this is so cool. And how do they do this? And how did you do? And again, I'm gonna have to go back to your casting too. How did you get your cast? Let's walk through that real quick, because your cast is huge. There's a lot of people acting here. How did you assemble your cast, Nikki?
By God's good grace. No, it was all of my friends. There's me, of course. I play Olivia, because nobody else can play a character who is basically just me as a dispatch officer. But then there's my sister Deanna. She plays Paula. Then my other founder, the company with me, is named Melissa. She plays Maria. Then there's Donnie, who plays Howard. He's been my friend for like 7 years now. We first met just being weird to each other on Facebook, and now we work together, so it was hilarious. But let's see. There's my friend Aaron, who I've known. He's probably been around the longest in my career. He's really a fantastic actor. We've been trying to work together for about 6 years now. He read one of my first scripts that I had ever written, and I was, all worried about it, because it was the first thing I had written, and it was based on my cousin who passed away. My cousin had a drug addiction, and so he passed away of an overdose. And so I was trying to figure out what I should write, because you're supposed to write something that So I decided to write a script that was basically based on his life, but that was my very first script. So I was like, I don't know how I feel about this. Don't know how well I did. So we met on Instagram, and he was like, go ahead and send it to me. I'll take a look at it. And so I sent it to him, and it was in really rough, awful shape. And I give him a whole lot of credit for saying, hey, this isn't formatted the best, but this is a really good story. So you've got what it takes to be a writer. Because once he said that, it was like, okay, maybe this is worth editing. But jumping forward, because I'm kind of rattling here. So he and I have been trying to work together for about 6 years now. And he's been one of my longest standing friends in this industry. And when I came up with this, he was like, I said, you want to be a part of it? He's like, yeah, sure. So I wrote the character specifically for him. He plays Eric. So, he's like the outcast new guy. I'm trying to think of who else is on there. I know I'm an awful person. There was Cindy, my friend Cindy, Cindy Copeland. She's been with me for a while. She's one of my favorite people in the whole world. She's just an amazing actress, and and then we we became friends because we both thought Jason Miller from The Exorcist is nice looking. So that's an interesting way to become friends. But she actually went to some of his classes. I think she met him in person. She was like, he's just as good looking in person as he was in the movie. And I was like, I hate you because I'm hot for Preacher. But excuse me, but so, and then the last one of the group, because it was somebody that was attached to the project that was supposed to play Alan, and it just did not work out. There was just I'm trying to skirt along here so that I don't,
No,
devolve into
sometimes that happens. I mean, a lot of people, they can be a good actor in front of a camera or on stage, but as you both know that voiceover acting, it's a different animal.
Well,
It,
this was a bit more personal. It wound up being where he was trying to control the project, and I was like, "Hey, this is mine." He was like, "No, we're going to do it this way," and
Clash just
so I
happened.
booted him. So I got rid of
so,
him, and so once I fired him, I was, that was probably the lowest point of the project because everybody was already cast. We were already recording lines. Everything was ready to go. We had already released a trailer, and then he wound up acting this certain way where I could not work with him anymore. And so then I was kind of left stranded. I had no idea what I was going to do because Alan is a major character, right? And I was trying to find another person to play this role. And so this again, my friend Tony, who I just have to give him credit. He's a great person. Tony, I think it's Sriracha, something like that. He does the Harry Strange radio hour. I can never pronounce his last name. I'm sorry, Tony. I'm really sorry. But he introduced me to his friend Joey, and Joey just happened to be a 50-something retired police officer with a Southern accent.
wow.
Like, holy shit, it worked. The
Yeah.
satanic ritual I did worked. So I wound up.
I guess the one question I have for you too was so whose cat was that? Because the cat did a great job, by the way. The cat. I was totally into the cat character myself. I mean, he sound pissed off.
The first time I've heard that, and it was just a random cat noise I found on YouTube.
Oh, actually, I know that. I actually think I know that one. Boy, this is really. My chat is going to probably roll with this one, but I actually know the meow. I know the cat that she took that from. I know it. When I heard it and going like, I know this one. It was a cat that got a veterinary shot, and they put it in wrong, and it burned him, and so he was like just full on, just like I'm going like I heard that before, and I thought, what a great way to use it.
Oh my God, you know which cat I used.
Yeah, I know. I knew exactly which cat you used. I'm like, oh, I've heard that one before.
Oh my God.
But what, the creative differences do happen in movies and TV and what have you. I mean, bumps and bruises happen, and the best thing to do is to do what you did, and that was just hey, you know what? It's just not going to work out, this project. Down the road, maybe it will down the road. Doesn't sound like it in this case, but that's it happens. It happens. As far as writing it, and you're saying it was in rough shape. Well, consider where you're writing from. You're drawing your pain and your poison out through your pen to the paper. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be concise. It's not going to be ready to rock and roll. It's you. It's personal. It's gonna. I get it. I get that.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I get it. And you can hear a lot of the emotion in River Oaks too. That's what really, I'm thinking to myself, were you guys all in the same room together, or were you doing your different parts and sending them in and then editing them into one episode?
Yep, that's how we did it. Everybody's separate.
That's actually more impressive to me because the emotion in the show is so palpable. I mean, you can feel everybody's pain, everybody's fear, it really comes off. It's almost like they're all in the same room. You're all acting off each other in the same room, and to do it like that, man, just more and more impressive as we go on here.
It really is impressive. To give my actors a lot of credit for it because they're working against usual acting where most of acting is reacting. So they're all just kind of spouting off these lines, hoping that it works right. And so I take the best takes from everybody and I put it all together and I hope that it sounds okay because I'm sound designer too.
Oh,
it's been way too much.
My Kevin's going like, of course Patrick would know about the cat. Yeah, I admit I knew about the cat as soon as I heard it. I'm going, I know that one. Yeah, yeah. If you're friends with me on Instagram, Kevin's right. He'll tell you that I send a lot of cat reels out. Um, okay, so now you got the now when you wrote the story, did you have it did you have it a start to finish? Did you like, okay, I know, for what's going to happen in the middle and the end, or is this a story that's fluid that you're producing as you go, as you're reacting to what you've seen in the first episode, and then do you react to it for the second episode and then the third one? Whoops, when she comes back.
Yeah, I think we lost her there for another second.
Now, you yourself are a filmmaker. Now, is this your first audio drama that you've done too, Jude, or have you ever done anything like this yourself?
So I've done voice work in film. I've done some commercial and short voice work, and I also had my own podcast for some time. So basically, doing audio is not much of an issue for me. I mean, I'm always happy to be on camera, and I'm always happy on camera, to be honest, because I prefer writing and directing. I've done a lot of production, a lot of film production, which is not my favorite thing to do, but it's something you kind of get roped into quite a bit. So I think I've produced about 30 feature films. But
Yeah, producing really is it's probably the most thankless job, right? And you know how you can tell that is when movies come out, right? They'll come out with a new movie, and on it says, and a producer of the producer of this movie. They don't even mention the guy's name. It's just like, this movie's from a producer of one of the Saw movies. It's like, what, you can't put his name on the box? It's like, who knows who that is?
All right, well, so that's just a matter of marketing, because you're trying to get whatever buzz is going to get audiences most excited. And if they're not recognizing a name, they're going to recognize the name of the film more likely. So I get from a marketing standpoint doing that. When it comes to the actual production work now, it's I don't know if I'd call it thankless. It's the least fun job of anything. So I feel, because you're basically crunching numbers, you're organizing stuff, you're making sure that this person is to set on time. Depends what kind of production you're doing. Like on set, that's what a line producer's job is, and I've done that, and I hate line producing. That is my absolute, like, if I never line produce again, I'll be a happy man. But when it comes to the other part of production, just as a producer or a co-producer, you're usually putting everything together and making sure it clicks. So you're dealing with a lot of contracts, a lot of numbers, negotiating, things like that, making sure things stay on schedule, stay on budget. And it's definitely the least creative of the jobs. It's not a bad job. And if you're getting paid for it, which a lot of times on indie work you don't, but if you're getting paid for it, it's fine. But it's still the least creative. You're doing a lot more if you're directing or anything else, and also something a lot of people just don't quite understand the meaning of, if they're not familiar with the industry, is a lot of times you'll see like an executive producer above the titles on something, like executive producer Steven Spielberg. And all that really means, most of the time, an executive producer doesn't do much actual work on a film. They're just either putting up the money, or they are getting people to put up the money with their name behind it.
Right.
Much period. But again, I don't know if I call it thankless, but it's just not fun for the most part.
Yeah. I guess, as far as that goes, it's like, do people come around, they recognize you, they say you did a good job? You have to go out there, you have to go out there and get all the nuts and bolts for it. Executive producers, they have to go out there and do the pitch for the film. That's not always fun, and you have to worry about staying on budget. You know, the director wants to do a big scene, and you got to tell them like, yeah, we could do that, but we don't have half the money for it, so we have to, dial it down a little bit. You know,
No,
all those things are
gotta
just rough.
cut out
Now,
from the
I have a feeling, Jude, that you get a lot of jobs as an actor, and you walk in there, and as soon as you walk in there, then they come up to you and say, "Oh, by the way, could you help us produce this movie?" Does that happen a lot where you signed up as for a speaking role and then you end up doing the other things?
To be honest, it's more than not been the other way around, where I'm working like as a producer, and it's like, oh, we the hiring manager number 2 didn't show up today, so we need someone to fill in. Who's here that's been in front of a camera before? All right, I guess. All right, and that's been more than not. I've done some films where I just showed up as an actor, but one of the last films that I just crewed on, just because I hadn't been on set for a minute after COVID, when I first showed up to set, the makeup artist when I got there was like, "All right, so who you playing?" And I'm like, "Oh, no, 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 I'm just working camera. I just wanted to be on set. I just, my friend's what was he? He was DPing the film, and I was like, yeah, I just showed up to be here." And she's like, "Really?" She's like, "You sure you're not on camera?" I'm like, "No, I'm not on camera, thanks." But yeah, that's kind of how that goes.
Well, let me put you on a spot here. Let me put you on a spot here as a producer, EP, as a producer. What did you think of Nikki's job in getting this project to the public? I mean, as a producer, was it just how
As
does she do how does she do because like I said, a radio drama is not the easiest thing to bring in. The audience, and you got to find your audience. You got to find you got to get your actors. You got to get your script. It's hard.
Yeah,
I mean, River Oaks is not easy. That's not an easy thing to do. Radio dramas are not. So, in your professional opinion, how do you think she did?
I think she has done and is doing terrific. I've been incredibly impressed from the beginning, from the first episode. Um, I've listened to quite a few that probably have a budget behind them and don't have near the quality.
Yes, yes. So right,
I
so
think
right.
like the only thing that I would say is I would maybe be a little bit more careful with a couple of the, like when I said 90% her copyright is clear, that 10%, that's the only part I would be careful with. But beyond that, and as a producer, like if I had looked at certain things from the beginning, and I'm not going to say what they are, but if I'd looked at them, I would have been like, no, we didn't negotiate for that. Let's cut that out. But beyond
I'll
that, I
blame
think.
it.
Um, well, there you go. It's honest appraisal. And let me go back to you, Nikki, and say when you were writing this, when you were firming this up, did you storyboard? Did you storyboard this? And I asked you before you got cut out. I asked you if this is a fluid story. Is your story already? Is it already like first beginning, a middle, and the end, or is this story still fluid? Is
Oh,
part 6 or 7 or 8, have they all been done already and we just have to hear them, or are you still acting and creating them?
yeah. I mean, everything has been done for months now. I mean, uh, hell, my lines have been recorded since January, I think. So, um, I've just been waiting on everybody else to get stuff done. But I've even posted about it on my Facebook page. You can watch the progression of me bitching about it over time of how, I need to be working on this. Damn it, why am I not working on this? Shit, I'm hung up on episode 3. What the hell am I gonna do now? Oh, I'm gonna delete it all. Screw it. Um, so I've been working on this project for probably about a year and a half now. Um, from original concept, then I wrote the pilot, then I had a couple people read it, then I got some ideas, then I went back and edited it again. I always knew, I'm trying not to spoil anything here, so trying to think of how to not, do this. I always knew there's a twist I always knew what was going to happen. It was just getting to that point that was the hardest part. So, and then I had to pick, what was going to happen when, but I always knew who was going to die, who wasn't, who was going to make it. So I wouldn't call it a storyboard because with me, everything is way more sporadic and just holy shit, write it on a Post-it and, oh, I lost the Post-it and now I don't know what in the hell to do. Hang on just a second.
Life happens.
Yes. No. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. But so, I had the storyboard kind of, yeah, that's me. Thank you. So I had the idea in my head. I think this is the fourth time I've started this sentence now. I had the idea in my head. I knew what I wanted to do. I had it all mapped out. It was just all typed up in a notepad document on my computer that looked like it may have been found like in a investigation of a serial killer's computer, where they pull it up and they say, we don't know what to make of this. Let's add it to evidence. So, I had just all these thoughts that I had thrown into the damn thing. And I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to do this or not. So then I've, started progressing, started doing some more episodes, more, scripts got put together. I started liking the way it was playing out. I started getting attached to the characters. I had my sister read the first couple of them. She said, holy shit, this is amazing. So then I kept going on it. And then once I got to the final episode, then I went back and I re-edited everything, to include nuances and stuff that needed to be added in there. So that's why it feels more complete, like it has a trajectory, because, I don't like doing things that aren't planned out. I like knowing where something is going, because usually when I have an idea, it's the ending first, and then I just have to work my way toward that ending. So, that's the way that I like to work.
Okay. Will this be a single season adventure for you, or are you thinking about doing this again? And the other question I would ask is, would you consider trying to do a movie about this?
Absolutely. I've already started working on the feature film script for it.
I think that how do you think what are some of the differences, now that you've already seen, you already wrote the first script, would there be anything that you would change in as far as the movie goes versus the radio program, or would you keep it one and the same?
I might change the twist at the end just to keep it fresh for the people who have listened to it, so that there's not the same twist with the movie. But other than that, I always write with a visual in my head. I mean, it's like I close my eyes, I can watch the movie that I'm writing, unless, I'm drunk, tired, or otherwise incapacitated. So, so that's, I know what I want to do with it visually, so I just need to write the damn thing, but that takes more time than I've had recently. But, if I tell you that there's, more seasons, that's going to get into spoiler territory, so I'll just shut up about that. But, yeah, I'm definitely considering the movie aspect. I've got enough people who are interested in it, who are, very excited about it. That, yeah, I think it would really work out great if I could get it written into a film and start maybe pitching it. Hopefully. I can always cross my fingers. Not that it works much.
I'm going to go to the chat real quick here and catch up a little bit. Hi, Andre. How are you? Glad you're here. Andre's from New Zealand, so you got an international audience. And we saw some folks already came up here from the UK, already stopped by. Thank you so much. And our friend Kevin has a question for you. Says, would you have any advice for someone who is interested in getting involved in a project like this, but doesn't know how to go about doing it? Yeah, how would you, like you said, this is your first time you've ever did anything like this. I mean, what were some of the things what were some of the biggest differences between doing a radio drama versus doing a film drama, a film project? What are some of the biggest differences, and how did you adapt to those differences?
It's a good question. My food is probably going to get cold by the time I answer it. Let's see.
I can talk to Jude for a few minutes while you eat. Me and
No,
Jude, we can pick it up.
you can move on. And everybody can hear me crunching. So my first set of advice: always start with a strong script. You don't want to go into something with a mess, because there's no way to work backwards once you've got stuff out there that's crap. Which is one of the reasons why I was completely, making sure that I had everything in the right place before I even started recording anything. Because that's the main thing you need, is a strong story. From there, just learn about Audacity, which is a sound editing software, because
I think that's us. I think it's us. God's letting us know to let her eat for a minute. Um, so tell us about your beginning, Jude. How did you get involved in the movie business? What led you down the path? Were you in films first, or were you in plays first?
Well, I think I've had an interest in just movies my whole life. When I was about 3 years old, I got out my parents' old Super 8 camera and started making movies with my Godzilla toys in the park. Um, I'm sure they were awful and they do not exist anymore, but that really was my beginning, and that was back in the 70s. So it's going on. But as I got older, I eventually did a few different career moves. I had gone to school for graphic design, and I do some of that. And as I was getting ready to graduate graphic design, the school that I was in had just begun a film program. And like, well, you know what? Let me re-enroll. Let me rekindle this passion that I have for movies. I had already had a couple features that I had written. I was very intent on becoming part of the industry in some way. I had lived in England for a while, and I worked on some TV show stuff over there, some development stuff, mostly as an artist, but also as a writer. So I went to film school, and basically the biggest thing I find that film school does for you is it opens a lot of doors. It gets you on set. It you learn a little bit in the classroom, which you need. Don't get me wrong, you need that background, but most of what you learn is on set, and it'll be like, all right, well, this film is crewing up, and they need a bunch of PAs, and so hey, um, so I did that after my education. I taught at the school for a little bit. I taught editing and Final Cut Pro, as well as After Effects and Photoshop. So I did that, and basically since then, I've done other things, but I never veered too far away from the film industry. I've written a bunch of scripts. I'm currently working on a series of films that are interconnected. They're
Anthology films or standalone films?
no, well, what it is, it's essentially a combined like the MCU, but it's all horror, and it jumps genre from film to film. So like, film is a slasher film. The second one is what is it, a noir detective story, kind of a Angel Heart type of a deal.
Nice.
Third film is a home invasion. The fourth film is a haunted house film. So it got all these aspects to it, and I've taken to writing a book, which I'm almost finished with right now. A novel that kind of ties some of the mythology together, and is essentially my version of like J.R.R. Tolkien's The Silmarillion, where it is basically a fictional mythology, sort of a theological book. You know, it's kind of like my version of the Bible or H.P. Lovecraft's Necronomicon, because I use a lot of Lovecraftian mythology in my stuff. So
Sure.
actually, an incomplete book that is like from, you know, the beginning, before time, when the gods were created and how they were all created, and then how man was created and how the various monsters and spirits and magic and how everything ties together.
It sounds like either you could do with you could go with a series of motion pictures, or it sounds like you could, you know, kick George R. Martin off the mountain and take his spot.
Well, you know what? Let's look. I love Martin. Let's not get into Martin bashing, but you know, just release The Winds of Winter already, please, please. But beyond that, let's.
You know, that guy is he's the most frustrating writer I've ever run across. It truly is. I'm not sure what drives him. I have my own opinions about that, but man, I felt, you know, it's funny because I felt so bad for the showrunners for the last season, because everybody bashed them so unfairly. It's like, it's not their fault. You know, it's like they had to do what they did, because what else were they going to do? What were they going to do, right?
Tell you what they should have done. What they should have done is not drop the respect for the mythology that they had. It's okay if it was different, but what they did was they disrespected a lot of the mythology, a lot of the character building, a lot of things like that, and that's just a writing aspect. And that fell apart. It could have been different than what he had in mind, but had it respected the mythology and respected the characters that were already built on that show, I think it would have been spectacular. But
I think that personally, what I feel was for that was everybody. He's got a you know, he's done anthologies before, right? And he knows enough writers, the really good writers. All he needed to do was just ask them, "Hey, can you help me out here a little bit? Help me out."
Well,
they would have did it.
I think once it was in HBO's hands, then you're getting into production issues, and the producers don't like to give up control when they don't have to. Even though he was one of the producers on the show, but he had checked out by season 5. So,
yeah.
Like, you know, he definitely relinquished too much control. I think that was his only real mistake in that show. And as far as the producers themselves, what is that? Benioff and Benioff and Weiss, I think. Anyway, they you know, they were fine at adapting what they had. They were not good at going their own route with it. Again, just.
Oh yeah, could you imagine though? I mean, I couldn't even imagine. I mean, let's take it to let's take it to us. You know, take it to your, you know, your career, or Nikki, or you know, I mean, there's got to be, you know, like, you know, here's Nick.
Sorry, I was taking a nap.
No, are you okay? Did you get some food?
Working on it. Okay. You know the whole thing about Olivia loving her extra pickles, right?
That's right. Pickles. Yeah, because see, that's really interesting. That's really interesting because you know the creative differences that happen on a project. I guess it all depends on how it gets dealt with, right? I mean, there are different ways to deal with it. There's some that are just like shutting the door. There's some that compromise. There are some that won't do anything because their ego won't allow them to. Take your pick. But you know, how do you adapt and how do you overcome that to maintain the integrity of the project? You know, that's the whole thing. It's like, you know, you got to get it out there. You got paid for it, so you got to get it out there.
I know how to come it. I just fire them.
What's it like doing that, Nikki? I mean, you know, is it done face to face? I mean, and Jude, let me ask you this too. I'm sure you've probably been in a situation where you've had to say, you know, maybe goodbye to a couple of talents or whatnot. How does that happen on a set? I mean, is it done by phone? Is it done face to face? Is it done through manager to manager or agent to agent?
Well, if Nikki has anything to say on it, I'll let her go first. But
you know, all I can attest to is that This guy was supposed to be my friend. He started being an asshole. So when I got to fire him, it felt like really, really good. The way I want to describe it is probably not G-rated. So I'll just leave it at that. It was probably one of the best experiences of my career, which is kind of sad, but at the same time, it was like, I finally.
You were going to have to run across it. You were going to have to deal with it sooner than later. The longer your career goes, the more projects you do, the chances of you having to do that are going to increase. It's like, I don't know, a single director can sit up there and say, I've never fired anybody in my career. I haven't met a single one that says that, who can say that. And all, including the directors, sometimes they don't work out. Sometimes they're the ones that get in the hook, getting the hook.
So I'll say this much. So in my opinion, unfortunately, like Nikki is running the show in every direction, so she had no choice. But when you have a producer, it should be the producer that steps up, not the creative force that fire. They should be the bad guy. That doesn't always happen, but that's how it should happen on a good set. And if you've got the people there. So like if I'm on a film, I would not, I would ask my director, I would be like, no, don't you fire them, let me fire them. And that is something I would generally do face to face, unless it's a situation where, they're out of town. We don't need them to come back to town. In which case it could be a Zoom call, it can be a phone call, whatever gets the job done. But I feel that it's just bad manners to make it impersonal. Like, I think there should be a level of personal to it while professional. Personal in the sense of, looking someone in the face and being like, look, it's not you, it's not this, it's not that. It's just, this is what's best for the project, and that's what I have to be concerned about. I'm sorry, I'm going to let you go. And I've been on sets where we lost crew members in the middle of a shoot, and even where we lost actors in the middle of a shoot and had to replace them and reshoot scenes. I worked on a film a couple of years ago that never got released. I was actually acting in it, but my role was originally shot for someone else. They shot the entire thing, and the person had to be replaced. And that was just a talent issue. They just didn't work out. Like, they were not working in the edit. Happening Back to the Future with Eric Stoltz and Michael J. Fox.
Right.
But, so, sometimes you have to go back and reshoot, if it's talent. If it's a crew member, it's a lot easier to replace. But, the set has to run smoothly. If it doesn't, then the project will suffer. And that's, yeah.
Let me ask you, because you said you were teaching at you're teaching after you graduated from film school.
Yes, sir.
What are some of the things that you, as a student, as you took your courses, what are some of the things that did you ever go to your head? Did you ever go like, boy, if I was teaching, this is something I would do differently? And when you did get a chance, did you do that?
Thinking. I got to think about that for a quick second. There's not a lot in my experience, and everyone's experience is different. So, this is just my personal experience. I think that when I was teaching, I was very much respectful of what I had been taught and reiterating that maybe in my own way, but making sure that certain bases were covered, certain things were learned. Once again, kind of the subjects that I had taught included, like I said before, editing with Final Cut, motion graphics with After Effects, and then just 2D graphics work, which I had already had experience from my previous course load, and I had already been working as a graphic designer at that point. So that's something that going into motion graphics, you really need to know, because it goes back and forth. So a lot of those aspects, there's a good amount that is just fundamental subject matter that you have to get through. You know, it's like, all right, well, we have to learn how to incorporate layers. We have to, learn, how to desaturate a screen, how to, do color correction, how to do whatever it is, Then when you get someone on a project and you're looking at their work, that's when it becomes more subjective, where you start giving those subjective professor opinions, where you're going, okay, well, I see what you did, you got the technical down, but this isn't working because you flipped the shot here, you jumped the line. So, and even that's kind of on the technical side, but as you get down into it more, you go, all right, well, you lingered longer on this shot than you really needed to, cut before they finish speaking and let that audio transition into the next shot and overlap, and you're going to have a cleaner edit that way. So you'll get all this kind of stuff. I think had I taught something along the lines of directing or screenwriting, I might have had more personal input into it though. But I never taught those classes.
So what was it? What was your first project as an actor? What was the first thing that you worked on? Oh, there's Nikki's back. Let me ask Nikki. Let me ask Nikki this question
just
too.
trying to eat, so I didn't want you all watching me, eat a burger while you are trying to talk.
I already put that down in the chat. I already said that you're really cute right now. So I knew you were hungry. So no problem. And honestly, not the first person I've interviewed that's been in a restaurant. So you're good. You're good. But let me ask you this question, Nikki, because now this your first directing is River Oaks. Now, and that's a radio drama, but now you're getting ready in pre-production for, she disappeared again. Let's see if she comes back here for this one. What was the very first project you ever worked on as an actor, Jude? What was it?
Oh.
Were you on stage? Did you do live theater first, or were you always straight to feature films, short films, feature films?
I mean, I did stuff as a child, every chance I got to be on a school project or a camp project, or I always loved performing. When I was quite young, when I was like 13, I became a sort of a children's party magician, like I was a kid doing kids parties. So basically being in front of an audience performing, I've always kind of had a fondness for. I've never shied away from it. But in terms of film work, I gotta think. I've got to figure it's very likely doing student films, whether it was in my class or whether it was, volunteering for some other classes project as an actor. So I think doing student films was probably my first foray into it. And I had been in some non-student films while I was still in school. And then my first feature, trying to think, but I think it may have been a project that I had, to go back to something I said earlier, line produced. And I was asked to do a role in the film when an actor didn't show up. So at that point, that day, it was like, all right, well, you got to shave, you got to go get a haircut. We were going to get you some new wardrobe, and you got 2 pages of lines to learn in the next 30 minutes. So
I'm sure you crushed it, though.
I mean, it's once again, it's a very low budget film. It's not my favorite. And I'm not going to name what it is, but it's probably my first feature credit in terms of acting.
Okay. Now I'm going to turn to you again, Nikki, because now this River Oaks. You directed River Oaks. You wrote it and directed it, radio drama. But now you have another film, a feature film, I think, Spiral Down, that's in pre-production. So talk to us a little bit about Spiral Down. and where are you in terms of where how close is that ready to get ready to shoot?
Waiting for money. As we all do whenever we're making movies, right? We're all just, we've all got a great idea. We just need money from somebody.
It's
So
the
that's go ahead.
no, I said that it's the cryptid of the film industry. It's like Bigfoot. Everyone's looking for it. No one can find it.
But we know
I hear Tennessee has a Bigfoot though. But speaking of cryptids, but yeah, yeah, I guess.
Are the crawdads in River Oaks, are they cryptids?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's right. If anybody has any doubts about it, I refer them to the Secret Saturdays. That's right. Okay. Now, if you guys know who the Secret Saturdays are, you're gonna be in the Hall of Fame for us. That's for sure. Well, wait a minute. You know what? I shouldn't say that so fast because Jude mentioned something, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. Jude mentioned that he grew up with watching Godzilla. So let me go and turn this attention back to you before we come back to Spiral Down. But Jude, are you looking forward to, what do you think of the American version of the Godzilla series?
You know what? I've enjoyed it so far. I like the universe building. Like I said, that's kind of building an interconnected universe is sort of my thing. Watched an episode or two of the show. What is it? Monarch.
Right.
And I appreciate that world building. I think world building is a big deal. Great at that is George R. R. Martin. But anyway, like. I think they've done a good job. I'm a little skeptical with the trailers I've seen for the new one, but we'll see. We'll see how it pans out.
You know what they need? There's two things they did wrong. There's two things they did wrong for me. One, they made Ghidorah into a minion. It's like, excuse me, but King Ghidorah was always the nemesis, never a minion. Should have never been tossed away just like that. Two. Where the hell is Gigan? We want Gigan, damn it. I don't want to see another monkey. We already got King Kong. We don't need to see another one. Bring on Gigan. We want to see Gigan Rex. That's the one I want to see.
I'm not mad at any more that bring in. Like that part I'm good with. I mean, bring in Mighty Joe Young for God's sake. I don't care. But the when I saw the trailer and Godzilla's got the robotic exoskeleton.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What are they gonna? Yeah, see what I'm saying? That's what I was like. You know what? Bring on Gigan. Let's get back to basics. Let's get back. Let's get back to the real story.
I just want Mothra back.
Huh?
I just want Mothra back. Mothra's my favorite.
But Mothra dies every movie, though, Nikki. Every movie, we talk about this. Every movie that Mothra pops up in, you always know as soon as you see her, she's dying. It never fails. Mothra is she's the red suit of Godzilla universe. She's
exactly. I like crying.
She always leaves eggs, though.
Yeah, I mean, I like Mothra too, but she's like the red shirt of the Godzilla world. You always know she's good toward death. She's always gonna die, but she'll leave eggs behind. So like there'll be another Mothra to kill the next movie. I don't know what that's all about. Toho, explain that to us.
I want to do a movie about what Mothra's babies look like. I want to follow a Mothra caterpillar, I guess is what it would be called.
Would you do something? I mean, look, with your experience on River Oaks, would you consider doing a horror movie? Is that something that's in your future that you want to give it a crack at? Make a run at it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you do really well with it, Nikki.
Well, thank you. I'm mainly a drama writer, but I mean, I guess I can manage to hide the cliches enough to where it looks like it's original.
Oh gosh, I don't know. There's not that many. Well, at least here in America. I mean, that's the hard part for American horror. A lot of American horror is always derivative. I mean, foreign horror seems to be more original, more outlandish. It's more like, holy shit, I never saw that coming. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's because Hollywood feels that they just can't trust the fan base. I mean,
I blame it all on Blumhouse.
Oh gosh, hell yes, I do too. Blumhouse, I don't.
Hey,
you're taking me to church right now because I'm a believer. I'm with you, Nikki, on that. Blumhouse,
in fairness, I've been wanting to pitch to Blumhouse, so we'll see how that goes. So I don't want to get on any train right now.
Well, no, all you need to do, Jude, in order to do that, just tell Jason you're making a PG-13. Oh, you'll get money, you'll get a cast, you're good. Just don't.
Okay, so we go from here over, from right here over hates Blumhouse, but the rest of it doesn't.
I mean, we talk about that. The people in the chat here are majority all horror fans, and we talk about this a lot in our community about Blumhouse. And it's like, man, every time they do a rated R movie, it does seem to pop. But man, his track record for PG-13 movies it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. It's like, it's okay to go for the blood and guts. Go for it. I don't care. That's what we're here for.
I tried to go see Imaginary, I think it was last week, maybe the week before. And I messaged Jude right afterward. I was like, I was expecting it to suck monkey dicks, and it did. It was awful. And, I go see movies like that because I'm kind of waiting for maybe, something extra to happen, something unique, maybe Babadook it up a little, just, do something, but brain dead. I was brain dead.
See, I think that really hurts horror movies. See, that's one good thing about River Oaks is too. It's like your movie, your radio show is definitely rated R. It's a R-rated. It's a show, and it moves like one too. We
don't have cops saying "gosh darn it."
You're telling a gritty story, and it comes across as that. It comes across as being real life. Did you ever see the Orson Welles movies? The Orson Welles radio program, The War of the Worlds. Did you ever listen to that? Yeah.
Nice. Sorry. The Joey, the guy who plays Alan on our show, has some sort of rights to the original radio drama. So I've been trying to kind of like bug him a little, like, hey, you want to do something with this? I'm right here. Let's work together. So, I always loved that. So, that was kind of one of the inspirations in this. I wanted to listen to stuff more from then as compared to stuff that's out there now, because I feel like if we take a step back in history and we go back and we look at stuff that used to be successful, we might be able to actually come up with some original stuff again. Because everything now, it's trying too hard to either be, let's see, we've got torture porn movies were big for a while, which I kind of admittedly like those, so don't judge me. But I like the Saw movies. Okay, that's the only ones that I really like. But I didn't like the most recent one. Everybody was like, "Oh, Saw X is so great." I was like, "Did you not see the plot hole in it? That was the size of Kim Kardashian's ass." I mean, this thing looked like. I got so aggravated because it was just this massive glaring issue that nobody seemed to notice, and everybody.
I like that too. The one movie that's like that, it's like that for me, is Air Force One. Holy shit! Is that? You could fly a 747 through that plot hole. It's like, did nobody ever see that? Did nobody ever saw?
Yeah, but you know what? In fairness, Air Force One has, what's his name? Harrison Ford yelling, "Get off my plane," and Steven Seagal dies in the first 10 minutes, and that is worth watching the movie for.
That alone, yes, exactly, because you don't have to see him run like a girl halfway through it.
But he's on the cover to all of it. Like, it's like his name is there, and like. I love the fact that they pull the Janet Leigh on it, and it's like, no, he's not in this movie.
No. What is next for you guys coming up? I mean, what are you working on right now, Jude? That we can see in 2024.
I'm hoping to finish up and hopefully try to get my book published. That should be fun if I can get it out. I've also got a book of poetry that I'm looking to get published. I'm seeking a publisher right now. And I've got a few film projects, which we'll see how that goes. Once again, just like we were talking earlier, the money is tough. Money is, it depends on what kind of budget you're looking at. There's the first film in the series that I've been trying to get made right now. We're looking at around a $4 to $5 million budget. And, for an independent film, that's on the higher side, unless you've got a company already backing you. So, we'll see how that goes.
It's funny you mentioned that, because I'm actually thinking, when you're mentioning how the different parts of your movie, I'm thinking Rennie Harlin has made he already filmed, edited. I mean, all three of the new Stranger movies are already all done. And he made a trilogy out of those movies. I think it's going to be a beginning, a middle, and a future. That's how I see the stories going out. Like, establish an origin, do a modern day one, and then the third one, do one in the future. But he got all three of his movies filmed and already in the can, and I guess they're being released like once a year.
I'm definitely not jealous of him at all.
What was that?
I'm definitely not jealous of him at all.
You know what, though? Let me tell you, I hope they're a hit. I do. I hope all three of them are a hit, because Rennie Harlin's a good director. He's one of my favorite directors, actually. And he got crucified for a movie that took him decades to come back from. And that movie, it's a great movie. I have so much fun with that movie, and I own it, and I'll die on that hill for it.
Actually, it just didn't hit audience.
Which movie was it?
Cutthroat Island.
Cutthroat Island. Yeah. Did you like it too, Jude?
Yeah. And it's not bad.
I thought it was so much fun.
Not a bad film. And then he followed
pirate movie. Pirates.
The Long Kiss Goodnight. He followed that up with, and that's a really good film with Gina Davis and I think Samuel L. Jackson, if I'm not.
Yeah, it was Samuel Jackson's feature film debut. He had done TV episodes, but I think that's his first time he'd been on camera.
No, he definitely. I'm pretty sure he's been in stuff before that, but it might have been his first starring role.
Right.
But
that was a great movie too.
I mean,
fantastic movie.
Spike Lee stuff way before that. But no, I don't think Harlan deserved the flack he got for Cutthroat Island. It was just the wrong film at the wrong time. But it's not a bad movie.
It's fun.
And Gina Davis is a ton of fun in it.
Oh my God! Hell yes.
Which they had. So yeah.
Yes, I thought she absolutely did a great job. I just could never could understand that. And then I've been following Rennie's career ever since. He did one called The Cleaner, another movie he did with Samuel Jackson and Ed Harris. That movie was banging too. The only thing that I had my only problem with was there wasn't enough scenes between Harris and Jackson. I wanted them to be seen together on screen because they're so dynamic. It's like, bring them together. But it was still a really solid movie, really good movie, suspenseful.
Well,
and
you were talking about horror before, and I believe Harlan's first film was in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, if I'm not mistaken.
You might be right about that. Yeah, he's a good director. He just got hit with one damn movie, and never after that, everybody just crucified him. And it's just like, wow, really? I can think of 20 directors right now that could, that he's way over them. But that's how Hollywood is. You're the it kid 1 minute, and then
I would rather work with a director who's made a bad movie than a director who has been, either sexually harassing or something like that, who's actually a really awful person. I would rather make a bad movie than a movie where people felt bad making it.
Right. Exactly. Nikki, what do you and Deanna got going on for Rogue Luna Entertainment for the 2024? Is it going to be trying to get Spiral Down made?
No, actually, we're focusing on a war movie that I wrote. It's called We Suffer the Damage, that's based on a friend of mine's actual grandfather who was a Jewish POW in Nazi Germany during World War II. Got the script and everything ready for it. We've got a great female Jewish director because it's kind of like, you want somebody behind the camera whose story it is to tell. So we got her in there. We've got we actually have an LOI from Bill Oberst Jr. as well. So he would be playing the villain, which would be cool. But right now it's a matter of, getting everything put together. We've got our budget. We've got everything ready to go. We've just got to keep, hoping that something sticks, either talent wise or investor wise. And then aside from that, we also have our TV show called Mythic Maidens, which is basically a female version of the Avengers, based on an idea that Deanna had from the time she was growing up, which is actually how we met. She wanted to she wanted to convert this idea she had into a show, but she had no idea how to write the screenplay. So she initially asked me, "Can you teach me how to screenwrite?" And I said, "Well, I'll just take a stab at writing it, and then." Okay, fine. We'll just we'll just work together on it. We'll found a company instead. And that's how she became my best friend in the world. And so I call her my sister, but it's hilarious that people say we look alike. We're both extremely tall. I'm 5'10", she's 6 foot, and everybody's like, "How are you all not related?" She even has the same name as my mom. So, and Deanna is kind of an uncommon name, but so that's our main goals for the year. And then basically, the way she is with me, we're such good friends. Any idea that I have that I can manage to get to actually stick and start going someplace, she's like, "Go for it. We'll work on it together." So currently I'm working on writing some scripts that are container films, get the lowest budget possible.
Right.
Because I have a few friends who can, pull some strings. They know commissioners and stuff, and we'll see what we can put together and actually get some work out there. Because like I said, River Oaks is my first thing that I've actually put out there. So I need some, yeah. So, I'm trying to get some actual visual format stuff out there too. Because that's what I want to work in. I don't want to spend my life doing podcasts for free. I'd like to, actually make something, do something. Because I wanted to be a director since I was about 7 years old. That was my big dream from the time I was a kid. And everybody was like, "Don't you want to be a vet?" No, I want to work in film. I love animals, but no, I don't want to see them in pain. I'd rather do my own.
When you heard that cat cry in River Oaks, you didn't feel like dropping everything to help him out?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I would. Don't get me wrong, I would. It's just that's not. I would rather make a film about helping the cat.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I agree with that. Do you have something to say, Jude?
I said she's just pointing out she's not a horrible person. She would help the cat if she had to.
Right. Yeah, you're gonna. Have you met Bill Oberst Jr. yet? He's a lovely man.
I've heard that. Yeah.
He's deep. He's really deep.
Yeah.
He's really interesting.
I have to go pretty soon. I've got to finish up here, and I got to.
Oh no problem. We have actually hit our mark right as she said it. We just hit our mark. So with that, we will go ahead and wrap this up. I want to thank our guests, Nikki Durbin and Jude Fox, for coming out and hanging out with us tonight, talking all things River Oaks. I put the link down in the chat if you guys want to go listen to it, or you can listen to it on Spotify. And while you're over there, please follow Nikki Durbin so you can hear any and all new episodes coming up. And tomorrow night we will be closed. We will be back on Friday at 9 p.m. with a screenwriter and filmmaker Michael Cassie, and we're doing a watch party for Hunter's Moon. And we'll be joined by young director Khalil Neal. He'll be joining us as well. And that will be at 9 o'clock here on 8 Questions With. And I can't wait for that. He's made a fantastic movie. If you want to go see a fun movie, go see Hunter's Moon. Thank you guys so much. Stay right where you're at. And to the chat, thank you again for your support. I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as I did in bringing it to you. And we will see you Friday night. Talk to you then.
Thank you, everybody.